Long before their story spiraled into one of Hollywood's most infamous scandals, Woody Allen and Mia Farrow were admired as a cultured New York power couple, raising 11 children, adopted and biological, inside her Dakota apartment. From the outside, it looked picture perfect, but behind closed doors, the cracks were already starting to show.
In the middle of the night, I wake up and feel guilty for bringing him into my family.
Let's rewind to 1979. That's when Woody and Mia first crossed paths. At the time, Mia was already a mother of 7. And Woody? He admitted right away that she pulled him into a completely different world. Later, he also confessed, maybe too honestly, that they had absolutely nothing in common.
This is the truth,
To prove the point, Woody once listed their differences, and it read less like a love story and more like a mismatch. She doesn't like the city and I adore it. She loves the country and I don't like it. She doesn't like sports at all and I love sports. She loves to eat in early, 5:36, and I love to eat out late. She likes simple, unpretentious restaurants. I like fancy places. And that was only part of the list. Allen put it plainly. Mia had an optimistic ye-saying feeling toward life, while he was totally pessimistic, negative. Doesn't exactly scream soulmates, right? At the time, Woody was at the height of his fame, 43, critically acclaimed, commercially successful, and riding the wave of Annie Hall's Oscar wins. Mia, 34 and recently divorced, was performing on Broadway in romantic comedy, reclaiming her career after marriages to Frank Sinatra and Andre Previn that had pressured her not to work. Their actual meet cute came thanks to Michael Caine, who introduced Mia to Woody at Elaine's, a popular New York spot.
I would not go on a blind date because I used to go on blind dates, and they were not successful for me for the most part.
Their courtship wasn't exactly passionate fireworks. It was, well, slow and methodical. Woody didn't even call her himself. He had his secretary invite her to lunch or dinner, which for most people would be a red flag. But Mia? She just went along with it.
I like a girl who will perform any act without any problem, and a girl that doesn't like to cook and doesn't like to do home things, and a girl, her religious convictions don't matter whatsoever.
Their first proper lunch was at Lutece in April 1980, and she even needle-pointed the date and event onto a sampler that hung on his wall. Cute, or maybe a little obsessive, depending on how you see it. Either way, dinners kept happening, and slowly, they were a couple.
He called me one day. I'd been sick, and he told me that he loved me. And I loved him too. And I really needed him and looked forward to seeing him. And it was a great light in my life.
Now, let's not forget the different worlds they came from. Mia was Hollywood royalty, the daughter of actress Maureen O'Sullivan and director John Farrow.
I had a great mom.
She'd grown up in Beverly Hills, Spain and England, surrounded by the film industry. Woody, meanwhile, came from a working-class Brooklyn family. His dad was a jack of all trades, his mom a bookkeeper. To him, Mia's upbringing must have felt like another planet. By 1982, their personal and professional lives began to blend. Mia and Woody's first movie together, a Midsummer Night's Sex comedy, hit theaters. That was just the beginning. She would star in 12 of his films, from The Purple Rose of Cairo to Hannah and Her Sisters. On screen, they looked like the perfect creative duo. But behind the scenes, things were shifting.
I think that was when I started being afraid of him as well as loving him, when I started working with him, because there was a very scary side to him.
In 1985, Mia adopted a baby girl named Dylan. Then, in 1987, she and Woody had a son together, Ronan. Years later, Mia would famously suggest that Ronan might actually be Frank Sinatra's child, sparking endless tabloid speculation. But at the time, they presented themselves as a growing modern family. Then came 1991, a pivotal year. Woody officially adopted Dylan, as well as Moses, another of Mia's adopted children. It looked like commitment, like the family was solidifying, but in reality, things were about to explode. Around the same time, 56-year-old Woody began a relationship with Soon-Yi Previn, Mia's 21-year-old adopted daughter, a relationship that would eventually lead to marriage in 1997. Mia had adopted her daughter Soon-Yi in 1978 when she was around 7 years old. However, because of her new daughter's age, the actress explained that they struggled to form a mother-daughter bond. Mia admitted that she encouraged Allen to bond with Soon-Yi because she was the shyest out of all of her children. Allen did his best to form a relationship with all of his former partner's children, taking them shopping and showering them with gifts. He started bringing all of them to basketball games. I really encouraged him to go with Soon-Yi too, because she was really shy, Mia shared. Woody confessed that it was during one of the basketball games that he realized that he enjoyed spending time with Soon-Yi more than he should have. Just a few years later, the American director was busy filming Husbands and Wives, and his stepdaughter came to visit him on set during a college break. He showed her the movie The Seventh Seal in his screening room, and when the movie ended, they were alone in the room together. And quite smoothly, if I do say so myself, I lean in and kiss her. Allen admitted, adding, "She is complicit in the osculation, and to the point, as always says, I was wondering when you were going to make a move." For a while, Woody thought that they could have their little fling and keep it a secret since Soon-Yi wasn't living at home.
I think eventually, as that situation got more and more serious, I would have told her about it.
He thought it would be a nice and exciting experience for them, and then she could go back to college and meet a guy her age and enter a more conventional relationship. However, he didn't realize how attached to one another they had already become. Mia found out about their relationship in the worst way possible. She discovered private photographs of her adopted daughter in Woody's home. The American director later explained that the photos were taken 2 weeks after his relationship with Soon-Yi had ignited. "They wouldn't put them in Playboy," Farrow said of the photos. "They were hustler pictures, really, really raunchy pictures." Horrified by her discovery, Mia immediately ended things with Woody. When she confronted him, Allen reportedly replied, "I'm in love with Soon-Yi. I would marry her." While both the filmmaker and Previn claim that they did nothing wrong and merely followed their heart and whatever happened was well within their legal right, everybody has looked at it differently from an ethical and moral perspective. In fact, Mia has a different version of the story, claiming that Woody's relationship with Soon-Yi began while she was still in high school. On the other hand, Allen adamantly claims their relationship began after Soon-Yi's first semester of college in December 1991. "I love her so much and I didn't ever blame her, because she was just a little kid when he came into the family. We were family and he was in my home as my partner, and as such he had responsibilities," Farrow explained. The actress also explained that the only thing she could do was move past the hurt and pain that Allen had caused her. She had no way of understanding it, but had to come to terms with her new reality. She had to focus on her one job, which was to be there for her children. Following the public announcement of their relationship in 1992, Previn spoke out for the first time, claiming that Allen was never any kind of father figure to her and rarely spoke to her growing up. She also added that when she and Woody became intimate, he and Mia had already ended their romance. Soon-Yi shared that she and her new beau bonded over films, sports, and art. However, she didn't shy away from adding that she thought Mia would have been angry if he had taken up with another actress or his secretary. She also alleged that Mia had a history of being violent with her. Allen, on the other hand, held guilt over their relationship. "I didn't feel that just because she was Mia's daughter, there was any great moral dilemma. It was a fact, but not one with any great import. It wasn't like she was my daughter." He continued to explain that he was never Soon-Yi's father. He had never lived in the same house as Mia and her children. He had never attended family dinners with them all together. He assured them that he was not a father or stepfather to her adopted children in any sense of the word. 5 years later, Allen married Previn, sharing that they had decided to wed because the timing felt right for them. The American director had just finished filming Deconstructing Harry, and Previn was graduating with a master's degree in special education from Columbia University. Over the years, the couple decided to adopt 2 daughters, and their relationship seemed to flourish, despite the constant criticism that they constantly faced. In an exclusive interview, Allen shared that he has a perfectly healthy relationship with Previn, and that there was no downside to getting together with her. "The heart wants what it wants. There's no logic to those things. You meet someone and you fall in love, and that's that," he explained.